Okay, so we're joined here today by Nicole Polivchak, a Polish-American player on the LET Access Series currently, played college golf at Northern Colorado and UTSA. So yeah, just want to get to know you a little better. And first of all, how's everything going? How's the season been? And yeah, how are you?
Oh, the season has been a roller coaster. But that's just golf. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not good. Um, so yeah, I guess just a roller coaster so far this year. We have one more tournament next week, or yeah, one more event, and that's it for the rest of the season. And I'm good overall.
Good. That's well, especially with golf, it's a fickle beast. So it's good
Yeah.
not to attach too much of like your how you're feeling to how you're playing.
Oh yeah, his I did do that a little bit and just trying to separate that identity from that I'm not golf, it's just something that I do. That has been a little bit hard, but it's getting better and yeah, I think that's just so important to not put all of your effort or not effort, but they're messing up already.
Like
Sorry.
your self-worth or
Yeah, put your self-worth, everything into golf because it's just so easy to get down on yourself and then you just don't like playing anymore. So just making sure to have fun and believe in yourself. It's really important.
for sure, for sure.
Hmm.
So yeah, before we're kind of going into a little more detail of like what you're doing right now, I want to take a step back into, you know, what you've done in the past because it's a pretty crazy story. I did my homework and
Hmm.
kind of saw so you're Polish American. Grew up in Florida, came up through the first tee. Just want to stop there about, what you have to say about this program. Obviously, it's pretty widespread in the United States.
Hmm.
Internationally, I don't know if there's much knowledge. So could you give us, quick breakdown of that and what it's meant to you?
Oh yeah, the first tee means everything to me. I'm such a huge advocate on it. Gosh, I think I was 7 years old when I entered the program. And gosh, I loved it. I still am a part of the first tee a bit. That whenever I am in town in Florida, then I help out with my chapter, the first tee of Sarasota Manatee. Yeah, so I love going back and teaching, especially the little ones, and it's just so much fun. And the coaches that are still there, they were there whenever I was there. So it's still like a little family that we have, and it's like no time has passed whenever I see them, which is crazy. But now it's less and less that I get to see them, unfortunately. But yeah, it was so cool. I got to go to one camp first tee leadership, I think, something like that. It's a long time ago. In Myrtle Beach. So that was really cool. Um, and oh, of course, I got to play at Pebble Beach, and they changed the name now. I think it's called the Insurance something, or it used to be called Nature Valley First Tee Open whenever I played, but they changed the name. I can't remember what it was called. But yeah, I got to play with David Frost from South Africa.
Well, yeah,
And yeah, and also Esteban Toledo. I got to do a 6-hole challenge. So that was really cool. I was even going through Facebook and seeing that the video that they posted on Golf Channel, it's still there. The Facebook Live and uh yeah, so that's so many good memories. And there were myself and two others from my chapter were also there. So that was an experience that I'll never forget.
that's awesome. Like that's
Hmm.
just crazy experiences. Like you remember that for your entire life.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, huge shout out to the First Tee program.
Yeah.
I've got some friends who, kind of went through that program across the US, and they
Hmm.
all had the same things to say about how it was amazing and gave them great opportunities. And they're all also big on giving back, once they've kind of come up and grown up and got into the whether it's pro golf world or just even in their lives, they're always attached to it somehow. So from from the outside looking in, it's always been very impressive to me to see that kind of program and what it does.
Yeah, especially that they're not just only focused on golf, but they're focused on kind of the bigger picture, like you as a person, that without them, I would obviously not be who I am today. Like with all of the core values that I remember I had to memorize to pass the test. It's a little bit different now, but I think just obviously in Europe we don't have that. And I think that's just something that's lacking that after my career is done, I'd like to do something like that to focus like on also the person and not just playing golf, that they should know like the core values and other stuff like how to stay calm under pressure. That I think that's so important that they do teach that. And yeah, I love the first tee.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, no, you can tell it's awesome. But then obviously after the first tee, also ended up going to Poland, playing for the Polish national team.
Mm-hmm.
Um, all of that. Even did you also play for the Polish national team through your college career as well?
I did. Yeah, I believe I started in 2014 was the first year I was on the national team. Yeah, and then I'm still on it as a pro now, so it's just
Okay, yeah,
a 10 years. Yeah.
yeah. No, time flies. Everyone,
Yeah.
like we're all getting old now.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, how about your college experience? What was that like? Obviously, two pretty, drastically different settings between Northern Colorado and San Antonio, Texas.
Yeah.
What were the big takeaways of those years, and what do you most remember even now?
Oh gosh. It feels like I remember the first T stuff, but I like blanking sometimes in college. That I mean, I went to Northern Colorado for 2 years. Um, and just it was just hard for me with the weather to stay there longer. Um, and so yeah, so drastically I went to Texas instead. Um, but I remember in Texas, the first team event we won and being a part of a team win and like how that felt and uh gosh, that I think we won three or four, maybe three times after that. And um I could be wrong, maybe it's not three. Just a few more times we've also won as a team, and just that experience, that we've all worked so hard and that it paid off, and to get first as a team, that it was just kind of can't really describe how it felt. It was just yeah, I don't even have words for how it felt. It was just
No, I
really
mean, like,
cool to be a part of it.
yeah, I mean, winning as a team is so special, especially in golf, and you don't really have the opportunity to do it that much,
Hmm.
especially now, that you're a pro and you're playing for yourself and that's it. I think,
Yeah.
it just it takes on more and more value as time goes on of just looking back and thinking like this was a, pretty special moment at that time.
Mm, yeah, that one's actually coming to my head in Tennessee, at Chattanooga's event. We won by one, and that was just a crazy feeling because I think like I birdied the last hole. Then one of my teammates on 17, she got a hole in one. And then yeah, and then I think us maybe one or two more birdied the last hole. And for us to finish like that, how many under par were we through like two holes? It was just that was insane. So I remember that moment. And then conference we lost by one. Definitely remember that feeling of just the one shot that could have happened. Um, by all good experiences.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously now being out on the LET Access series, how has that been? It's your second year as a pro. Through all that, how do you feel like you kind of try and prepare overall, whether it's in terms of, your coaching staff or even, gearing up for events. Obviously, stats also has a part of that.
Hmm.
What does that, preparation look like both in the off season and, during when you you've got kind of, short turnaround from one week to the next.
Yeah, the schedule this year was kind of crazy with I think you could have done seven in a row, seven events in a row that they had set up. The most I did was five. That was really hard. We'll never do that again. That was just exhausting everywhere. I just wanted to go home at the end of it. Um, but yeah, you just sometimes it's just such a quick turnaround that, and we have to do the stats right after the round that everyone has to do it. I mean, that's also helpful because then I do it right away and then I can see what I always look at the strokes gained. And it's very interesting how it's done with up game. That just the entire field is because everyone has to do the stats. So then like every once in a while my strokes gain will change until everyone is in. And then I see how much I lost from the field. Whereas in like practice, it obviously doesn't change because it's only my score. So that's kind of interesting to see also how I did against the field in that aspect. Because usually I don't like to compare myself too much to it, but it's also kind of in the end good to see okay where what went wrong and what could have been better with against the field that week. Yeah, and using the practice that I use that quite a bit. That's on Upgame. That you can create your own practice plan or they have drills there.
Yep.
And yeah, I do this putting drill all the time. I think I've posted about it twice. That I love it. And then I got some other girls doing it too. Um, so yeah, practice. I mean, you don't really have any time to grind it out on the range. You kind of gotta just go with whatever you have at the moment. Because you're just so physically exhausted if you do so many in a row. Yeah, and just spend more time putting, getting the speed down on the greens and that many in a row, that's hard.
Yeah, five in a row is crazy.
It
That
was crazy, yeah. I just did four in a row now. I just got back. And even by the end, it was just tiring because I also have to drive, and in England I drove, so I'm driving on the opposite side, trying to figure that out. I did great, but at first it was very stressful. So just some other because yeah, like in college or even on the national team, we always had a driver. They figured out how to get to the golf course and what flight to do, but I'm the one booking everything and that's also just so hard trying to find like the best price or sometimes it has happened that people have booked to the wrong airport or the wrong date. So that's also very stressful. Um, Luckily I haven't done it yet. Hopefully I won't, but uh yeah, it's just kind of different than I thought it would be, but it's been a lot of fun finding the right people to travel with, and it just makes it a lot more fun than being on your own because that would be so hard just week after week being on your own. Because I'm already on my own on the golf course most of the time. I don't have a caddy that comes with me. Uh, so yeah, definitely having the support from what on the phone
yeah.
that's very helpful too when you don't have anybody else.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's not as much visibility, with women's golf obviously compared to men's golf. It's
Hmm.
getting better, but it's still not there, especially when you get to, the kind of the lower divisions like with the LET Access series. And I don't think people always realize how much of a grind it really is, week in, week out, doing all these things, having to figure all that by yourself, like you said. Um,
Hmm.
that's it's always fascinating to hear of all the kind of extra resilience you need to have. It's not just about playing good golf. It's also about having that toughness to stick it out and all of that. Yeah. I mean, obviously now you're kind of getting towards the end of the season. And I'm guessing you'll be going to Q school here in what is it, a few weeks now? So how's
No, Q school is actually December 12th, sometime in that area. So yeah, it'll be nice to take a few weeks off and just kind of do a little reset. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously now going into even the end of the season, next season,
Mhm.
what type of expectations do you have? Not necessarily in terms of results, but just overall for yourself and how to do things. What are you going to be focusing on?
Yeah, I feel like this year I just had my expectations so high, and when you don't kind of reach what you've set, it can bring you down so low sometimes. So I don't necessarily say I would have expectations for next year, but just focus on having fun at Q school and enjoying the process, because if I do that, then the game's just gonna be there instead of thinking like obviously I want to play on LET next year and make it through Q school. That is the big goal. But just the main expectation is for myself to have fun and enjoy being out there.
Yeah, yeah, I feel like that's always a good message to send even to the younger players like juniors who are
Hmm.
wanting to really get serious about it, and especially now the level is getting so good.
Oh yeah.
You see all these young players are already treating it like a job, and you kind of always want to remind them like this. You got into this because it was fun in the first place. Um,
Hmm.
to just to keep that in mind as well.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. Thank you so much for your time. Best of
Yeah,
luck for the rest of the season. For next year, we'll
thank
be
you.
following you. You've got the whole up game team cheering you on, and we'll be looking forward to seeing those good results.
Thank you so much.